Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Whatever, Whenever, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. I am Robin.
And I'm whenever. I'm the Mentok.
I'm whatever.
Try to change that up every time.
Yeah, you always throw me off.
I'm not doing it for the audience. I'm doing it for you. I'm trying to really get you off guard so you have no idea where to take the podcast next, and then we just have dead air for 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, I think it's funny.
So what do we got today?
Well, last episode we were talking about a bunch of stuff, and then towards the end we kind of started talking about this old Flash animated series called Super Mario Bros. Z, and I was wondering if you wanted to talk about that today.
Let's talk about that.
Awesome. It's a for those of you who don't know, it's, as the name might imply, Super Mario Brothers series that's inspired by Dragon Ball Z, and it was made in, I think, Flash, probably some other program later on, but it was used like sprite art to work with it and like do all the animations and stuff, and it was basically, the premise of it was that there was a crossover where Sonic and Shadow came from their dimension after a Metal Sonic, who in the original series is Mecha Sonic, and then in the remake is Metalix. He like destroyed their world, and the Chaos Emeralds got sent to Mario's world, so they're all trying to track down the Chaos Emeralds before Mecha Sonic / Metalix gets it.
Yeah, and the series was heavily inspired on the Android / Cell saga of Dragon Ball. I guess it started that way, and as he started going along, like you see a lot of derivatives, but Mecha Sonic is definitely like kind of a Cell derivative because with each Chaos Emerald he grows like insanely stronger. So that's why he's collecting them, and I think it's similar to like how Cell was, where he would absorb the androids and then become like extremely powerful and stuff. So very similar to that. And then I think like at the time the sprites were from Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for Game Boy Advance, and then the Sonic sprites were from Sonic Advance 2. Sonic Advance 2 and up. Because there is actually like a drastic difference between Sonic Advance 1 and 2 sprite wise. And then I think wait. No, they might have been from Sonic Battle actually. Because Shadow was there.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Shadow was in there, so yeah. Basically those.
Yeah. But I remember finding the series because in middle school someone told me about it, and so I sneaked onto YouTube because I wasn't allowed to use the internet back then. So I sneaked onto YouTube and watched the full series, even the like unfinished episode that was where Shadow and Mecha Sonic faced off, and it like ended before their fight even began.
Like one of those part ones, because I think he did put like a episode something part one situation.
Yeah, it's funny how like inconsistent the length was for those episodes too, where like the first episode was like 5 minutes, and then the seventh episode was an hour long.
Yeah, so I guess here's the thing, right? This was on NEWGROUNDS, where like sprite animations were like super popular. It was like the easiest way to get your hands on assets, and then you could just move them around in Flash and really get to know how to animate with Flash. RIP, by the way. So like a lot of NEWGROUNDS projects at the time, like if people couldn't draw or animate, they would use these sprites. So if you were good at like animation, you could actually make it on NEWGROUNDS and become pretty popular just by knowing how to manipulate the sprites. Super Mario Bros. Z was like a step in like this wild direction that was using the sprites to do ridiculous things where, it was a little janky at times, but like the choreography and just overall animation of it was just top notch. And, that's kind of why it stood the test of time. Um, but I guess we got to talk about the creator as well if we want to like dive into this too. Um,
Yeah, I think you might actually know more about him than I do.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right. So my first foray with this, I was a high schooler, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when the very first one dropped because I was the type of person just to peruse Newgrounds after school. So I'd just go on there and just see what was like top ranking and stuff. And this Super Mario Bros. Z was on like front page. So, and sometimes like I would send them to my friends via AOL Instant Messenger. Oh my god.
Jesus, you sound ancient.
Yeah, we would send the link to each other, and if we couldn't control the text, we would basically time the moment that we press play. So we would put 3, 2, 1 in the chat, and then press play to sync it up so we could react like at the same time. But that's that's a story for an older millennial right now. But yeah, so like I remember seeing the very first episode and I was following along with the series and the fan base was rather toxic. It's in a much better phase now because I think that they've all grown to like my age or whatever. Or I'm going to say those people are probably a little bit younger than me. So probably middle schoolers and elementary school people watching that stuff while I was watching in high school. So I remember that he had a deviant art. So the creator goes by the name Alvin Earthworm, also known as Mark Haynes. I don't think he goes by Alvin Earthworm as much anymore. But before he got into sprite work, he was actually into furry art. And he had like a deviant art that was basically surrounding that. So a lot of people would go over there to try and get updates. And he was like more concerned with his furry art rather than like the actual series. And on one hand, I kind of get it because it's like you don't want people like blowing up your spot asking you when the next episode's coming out, especially when you're doing something for free as a hobby. But on the other hand, he was kind of like ridiculous to some people who were asking, and it was a very toxic environment, that DeviantArt page. But I would always go there to kind of look for updates because he would post like tiny little parts of the next fight and stuff like that. But you would have to like sift through like a ton of furry art to get to like the actual update. If you're not into furry stuff, it was a little bit difficult to like navigate that site,
Yeah.
So that's basically what I know. But he was a little bit older than me too. So he was I think like in college when he was making that series. And I can imagine like a bunch of kids like, screaming at you to put out the next episode while you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And yeah, I mean, he would have times where he'd mention openly that he was just extremely depressed and he's not really sure if he wants to continue. And then he said he's going to continue. Then he's quit a few times and just a lot of like emotional, outbursts online and stuff like that until it got to the point where he says, I'm retiring and I'm putting it down. So before we get to that stage, I guess, do we want to talk about the series?
Yeah.
Because this is like pretty much like episode 9, I think, that he said that. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's actually talk about the series before we continue that story.
Yeah. So like the main cast was like Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Sonic, and Shadow. But there were also like some recurring villains such as the Koopa Bros, who were like 4 Ninja Turtle parodies.
Mm-hmm.
They were working for Bowser. And then the Atsum Rangers, who were based on, like, they're supposed to be like characters from Mario RPG, but like, I think remodified or grown up or something, and they're like Power Ranger parodies.
Yeah, they had like much more fleshed out bodies.
Yeah.
So I forgot what. Oh, yes. He put them on. He put their heads on top of Mega Man Battle Network sprites of similar colors. So it was actually a very clever artistic move there.
Oh yeah, that is pretty clever.
So yeah, like I think so. The main baddies. The main bad guy was Mega Sonic, so like one guy from Sonic's world, and then the rest were essentially Mario characters to fill in the gaps, which I think was a great move on his part too.
Yeah, and there was for some reason they like never showed him in anything other than shadows, but it was implied that Bowser was working with Dr. Eggman, and by implied I mean every time Bowser was on screen alone, Dr. Eggman would just be appeared in the shadows and saying cryptic shit, and they would have like triple question mark as his name in the text, even though we all could tell that it was clearly Eggman.
I don't think they ever like actually showed his face, which is the funny part.
Yeah, no, which is why I thought it was funny that like in the reboot in episode 2 they like immediately revealed it was him instead of doing the like not revealing him thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like I don't know if there was supposed to be like some kind of twist with Eggman in general. I don't know. He was supposed to be dead overall, and you're not exactly supposed to know how he got there in the first place. So that was another thing, but I think the overall writing just like really progressed over time. It started like as a DBZ kind of a ripoff, and then like I don't know, like I got really engrossed in the writing because there was actually like episodes where they would end up in like this negative world where all the sprites turn into 8-bit sprites, and I thought that was like a creative escape from the normal look of things. And you know, it got to the point where the climax was this huge battle against Bowser and his forces or whatever, while of course, you know, Mecha Sonic was lurking somewhere. And yeah, Sonic actually gets this new form where he eats a fire flower. So like the cool thing is that they mix up the power-ups between series, and like they have like super convincing forms, you know. So Sonic turns into like this blazing supersonic looking thing. I thought that was amazing, and he just like absolutely wrecks Bowser's forces in that moment, and that's kind of when the series ended canonically. Like canonically, that's a funny thing to say for a fan thing, but you get my point.
Yeah.
So I guess that's when Alvin Earthworm, or Mark, or whatever we want to call him, decided that he wanted to step away. I guess he had too many life commitments and things were going on in his life where, you know, he couldn't hold down a good job and things like that. And this is all the stuff that he said openly. I'm not like doxing any information because I don't know him personally. And then he kind of just took to Twitter, and, you know, people just started hearing less of him after that. Until like, I guess 2016, he decided to start doing some re-releases. So episode 1 and 2 are now out on YouTube, where everything was just more or less redone.
Yeah, he didn't release episode 2 until last year, but episode 1 he made a while ago, like back in 2016.
Yeah.
And he launched a Patreon, but apparently that like ended up being like he got hit with a DMCA or something over that.
Yeah, so this kind of makes sense to me, but like he made a Patreon for the series, and I think we touched on this last podcast a little bit, but he did make a Patreon for the series and then kind of like got taken out by Nintendo because he's like essentially profiting off of their IPs.
Yeah.
Which makes sense to me, but like I think he was making like several grand a month just off of Patreon. Like,
oh damn,
it was wild. This is when everybody first started using Patreon, so it was like a more popular tool.
Yeah, and plus it was like a lot of people were like, oh shit, I remember that series from when I was a kid, so it obviously nostalgia was a factor and all that.
Right. He was on top of the world at that time. So like I can imagine like after that, like Nintendo just DMCA's you. Like then he tried to make another one, and Nintendo came back and like threatened to sue and all this other stuff. So I think now he's just doing it leisurely and he's working on it. But to think that he'll get to the end of the series is wishful thinking, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's cool that he's doing it in his free time now as just like a, I guess, kind of passion project.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I'd be okay if he just finished the original story that he wanted to tell. And I know he's got like 2 other arcs planned out, but I don't see those getting done. I know that the overview he had for them was like the second one would be the Atom Rangers come back after I'm just gonna say this right now. Spoilers for the entire series, by the way. If you haven't watched them, just go watch. Yeah, go watch them right
it
now.
now, then come back to the podcast.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be watching like 3-4 hours worth. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. But go ahead, Robin.
Yeah. Okay.
We warned them.
So,
spoiler warning. Hey.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Now you're not allowed to bitch in the comments.
All right. Wait. No spoilers right yet. Okay. Now spoilers. Go.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah. So basically, like, after the Atom Rangers supposedly die to Mechasonic, or Metal, it says he now is in the reboot, they would come back in the second arc with Smithy, who is the villain of Super Mario RPG and the guy that they worked for.
Yes.
Yeah, and Smithy would have been the big bad of season 2. I don't know if Sonic or any of them were planned to be in that series as well.
Yeah, it would have felt weird if they just left. But
yeah, I
would get it.
Yeah, I think the idea is that maybe Sonic and them will like stay in Mario's world because they don't have a universe to go back to unless their universe gets restored or something.
Right. And like I think like Sonic and Shadow kind of serve as like the Trunks, like combined Trunks of this universe. So like it would make sense if they went home at the end of it. But I like honestly I can't even sit here and speculate because I know it's never getting to that arc.
Yeah, I know.
I wish that he would just kind of write spoilers and just be like, "Hey guys, like here's my intention with the story," because like it's a lot, and you're like doing traditional old like sprite animation. It's gonna take a while to like get back to where you were, and I don't know, like. Mark has come on to Twitter and said that he regrets some of the episodes that he made. Like, he felt that he did pointless filler with a lot of them, and he hates certain episodes. But
yeah, I know that, like... Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if I were him, I would have just picked up where I left off and just kind of, like, cleaned up the writing from there. You know what I mean? Just so I can say I completed this story. But, I'm not him at the end of the day, but still.
Yeah. And I think that the new episodes that we have gotten are really good and a really good improvement, and I'm interested in seeing where the reboot takes us. Yeah, even if I have to wait 5 years for another episode.
So I guess while we're talking about this, let me check his Twitter and see what his last update was. Mark Haynes. I was gonna say, yo, if this guy deleted his Twitter, I'm gonna be so upset. He does have a coffee, by the way, with 449 subscribers. So I'm sure that he's making like a little bit of side money off donations.
Speaking of coffee, donate to my coffee, please. No one's donated since I opened it. Please give me money.
Don't lie. Don't lie to them.
I mean, you and Andrew donated, and that's about it.
Go support your boy Robin on the coffee, because he does a lot of nice little journalism work these days.
Thank you. Shameless plugging.
Yeah.
I'm a sellout.
Check his NEWGROUNDS while I look up this old NEWGROUNDer.
Yes. Link in the description.
I don't see many updates. He's playing Pokemon Legends Arceus, so there's that, and then he was playing Animal Crossing, and let's see, December 8th. Okay, here we go. I think this is good to read right here. This is his tweet from December 8th, 2021. I've been putting this off for a while now, but I think I really need to make an update on things for the sake of transparency. I have not started on the next episode of SMBZ because I've been suffering from the worst case of crippling depression since around June. I'm not exactly sure what triggered it exactly, but I'm willing to bet the past few years had a hand in it. The continuous toxicity and doom prophecies in the news and social media, my endless bad luck with unforeseen expenses, and my overall poor mental and physical health. Some of my family members have also theorized that I could be going through a midlife crisis because I've been showing a majority of the signs of one, especially during the past few months, and that kind of puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
I told you he was a little bit older than me, but I forgot how old I was.
Yeah.
Okay. So people have been saying I should quote unquote get help, which is easier said than done right now. The waiting list for non-COVID related appointments is astronomical. And if by some miracle I do manage to see a doctor, they'll just force me to play Russian roulette with pills again. He lives in the UK, I believe, by the way. So different things going on over there. I really cannot continue functioning like this. I've been worrying my friends, family, and my online followers. I find myself unable to concentrate on even the simplest of tasks. I rarely am able to get out of bed most days. I've been posting screenshots and videos of games just to give a false sense of activity on my Twitter account because things like Warframe and Animal Crossing have been my only escape from the dark thoughts that are running through my head. Anyways, just thought I would let you all know what is happening. I'm sorry for being a disappointment yet again. So that's heavy.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that he's going through all that. And if he's listening to this right now, by some chance, I really do hope that you get better.
I think that always comes first, and you can't create content that pleases people when you can't please yourself. I think at the end of the day,
at the end of the day, it's just a series on the internet. You don't need to put it over your own mental well-being. And I think most people understand that, and if there's people who don't understand that, well, grow up.
Surprisingly, Twitter comments are extremely supportive here, and I think that the fan base is just much older now and matured. That he's not gonna run into the same bullshit or as much of it as last time. A lot of these people are saying, "Take all the time you need. I'm sorry," and "Are you gonna be okay?" etc., etc. So he has the support here, which is good. And he's been posting since, so he has posted Pokemon and Animal Crossing, so I'm sure he's still kind of using that as an escape and whatnot. So, I mean, hey, as I said before, honestly, these are the reasons why I don't think, I think it's better for him overall to just, discontinue the whole thing and not have that pressure. But if he finds joy and happiness in doing it, he should do it in his spare time and just kind of keep himself busy with respects to that. Because I feel that way about YouTube too. Sometimes you're in the wrong mindset and you're just like, oh, I can't make I don't feel like making a video today. But once I start doing it, I remember why I've been doing it in the first place, because I like the process more than I actually think I do. It's like that activation energy that's the crippling part, especially when you're going through a tough time. But then when you're done with it, you realize, man, I'm so glad that I did that, because not only do you have that satisfaction that you managed to push through and do things through those hard times, the response from people who actually consume that thing that you did, especially if it's all positive, it really helps in the long run. So Mark, if you are listening, you know how we feel about this. Just take the time you need and take care of yourself. That's the best thing that you can possibly do for all of us, for your fans too.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think I really have much to add. I think you put it really good right there.
Yeah, I honestly see this as a common problem amongst, it's a common problem in general, but especially with content creators and things like that, burnout, etc. I think anyone who's trying to pursue those things, especially when they don't have a massive following, it's tough, because sometimes you second guess yourself. You're like, is this worth it? And you tend to forget your love for certain things when you're focused on the exposure of it all. And that can kind of add to how you feel about life, and you question, man, is this really the road that I want to go down? And I'm sure that's kind of what he's going through to a certain extent. I'm not gonna assume, but I'm sure that contributes to it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is about Newgrounds specifically, but it seems like all the famous people from there, back in the day, are either going through shit right now, or they have a Let's Play channel. Yeah. There's no in between. I know it sounds funny, but there is no in between.
Is today the day we talk about the Game Grumps? Is that what you're telling me that we should do?
I don't know. Not today. I don't want to go through that. But I just, Yeah, I'm too tired for that. I just got back from a doctor's appointment.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, never mind
Yeah,
then.
yeah, no.
But I guess
Uh,
for those of you who don't know, old school Newgrounds, like a lot of animators that you probably run into on YouTube got their start there. And
yeah,
it's
a lot of voice actors and stuff too.
yeah, it's pretty fascinating the amount of creative people that came out of that.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Like that's where obviously Aaron from Game Grumps came from, and Oni plays, and then
Psychic Pebbles is one.
Psychic Pebbles. He's a part
Hot
of Oni plays.
Hot Diggity Demon. That's his
Yeah,
name,
he
right?
was on there. Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to think of like some other
Rice
guys.
Pirate.
I'm not familiar with them. There was like this era a little bit after like the Eagle
A
Raptor
little bit
age.
after you, a little bit before me.
Yeah, that era is
Yeah.
kind of like the unknowns for me because I think I
Yeah.
stopped looking at. Once I got to college, I stopped watching Newgrounds. As I used to
Ah.
peep in on it every so often, but I kind of lost touch on that, especially when YouTube got more popular.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Rice Pirate's a little bit before me too. I didn't know who he was until like about a month ago.
I guess
Uh,
we can use that to talk about like some series that we used to watch at that point. Like, there's gonna be like two different types here. Like, so
yeah.
I'm the very early Newgrounds era. Like, I guess in middle school, that's when I started browsing Newgrounds. And
Yeah.
there were a few like that come to mind. And then there are a few that I will never remember the title of, but I remember the impact it had on my life. So Super Mario Bros. U is definitely like, the epitome of that. But
Yeah.
that was much later, like on in middle school though, there was this game. I used to go on Newgrounds to play games mostly at first. There's this
Yeah.
Flash game called Skull Kid, and it was so basic. You just basically had this kid in a skull mask that would go through his work office, his workplace, and just chainsaw his coworkers. And now that I think about it, like we had some graphic shit back then.
Yeah. Like between that and like fucking Pico School and all that.
Right, like Pico's school is literally like what
It's
like some
it's a
goth
game.
kids were like taking over
Yeah.
the school or something, and then
Yeah, like some goth kids like take over the school, and the leader turns out to be an alien with a giant penis.
is that how it ends?
Yeah, you don't know that?
I didn't. I probably
You
played
never
that game
finished
one
it?
time. I think I finished it
Okay.
once.
Yeah, no, like it was like Pico like fights against the goth students, and then he like goes to the end of it, and there's like a boss fight, and the leader of the goth kids like kills the other two, and then turns into a giant alien with a big penis for some reason, and the penis is the weak spot that you
So,
have to hit.
Pico, by the way, Pico's school was made by the creator of Newgrounds.
Yeah, he was made by Tom Fulp. He
Tom
actually
Fulp.
released. Actually, funnily enough, he released that game a month after Columbine happened.
Oh wow. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
and-
Newgrounds in a nutshell right there.
Well, I
like,
mean, I want to say something about that though. Is like he like never intended for it to be like a social commentary on the event that happened. It was just that he was working on it, and then it happened to have an unfortunate release date.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I guess just separating from Columbine, like that violence in schools seemed to be like a popular topic around that time anyway.
yeah, because it was like before it became like a taboo, and it was like a thing that we actually had to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think like people just playfully like said, "Hey, what if all this happened and went down at school like in those Flash animations?" And then Columbine kind of
Yeah.
happened, and I think it
Yeah.
became even more popular. Strangely enough.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I guess that was a different time. I'm not excusing it whatsoever. I wasn't really attracted to much of that.
Yeah.
But that reminds me of another series called Shin, Xin. This was actually a hand-drawn Flash animation, right? And it had like some very popular voice actors, I think. I'm not sure all of their names. I'm pretty sure some of them came into like the professional voice acting arena at some point. But Shin was about like it's like a weird anime school thing that's not really anime, but it is like anime at the same time, and it's like trying to. I guess like everybody fights in there. It's like a really bad school, and
Is it like
there's
is it like the anime episode of South Park in a way?
I don't know if I've watched that.
You haven't heard the awesome theme
The
from that?
protect my balls one.
Yes, that.
Shono mono protect my balls. Yeah, I know that one, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
watched the whole episode.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like that series had like about 12 episodes, and it was actually like something I look forward to the release of all the time. Very awesome fights and stuff. I'm sure if I went back to it now, I'd be like, man, this looks like trash. But you can see the progression of the artists, and like they actually had decent writing and voice acting, and it was basically like that school type of anime where they had like, you know, the bad guys, and then you had like the badder guys. So then the bad guys make an alliance with the other bad guys to fight the badder guys, if that makes sense. Quite an interesting story.
Huh. Yeah.
And of course,
I
I'd
used-
watch a lot of Sonic Flash, but that's
Yeah, I used to play when it came to Newgrounds. I used to just go on there to like play the Flash games that they had, and I remember specifically I would play like all these stick figure games. You know, like all those like Stickman games where it was like, well, Henry Stickmin is definitely one of those. Do you remember that series?
yeah, because it just resurfaced recently.
Yeah,
So
it
everybody's, like, into
re-released
it now.
it re-released as a collection, and it was made by the same guy who made Among Us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and there's like references to it in Among Us with them even.
Among Us.
Yeah, the like the airship stage is the Top Hat's airship from from Henry Stickmin even. But yeah, I used to play those, but there was also like stick figure like assassin games where like it was like the characters were all stick figure people.
Is
But
that Madness
play-
you're thinking?
No, it's not Madness. It was like actual stick figure, not like the way that he draws them, where they like have the guidelines on their face. No, I'm like, it was like actual like stickmens with like the circle head and the like their bodies, kind of like the fighting animations that people do.
Yes, the
You know?
Xiao ones that were like super popular. That would
Yeah,
kill
it's
the
ki-
game
it's-
back in the day.
Yeah, it's like they're all it's stick figures animated like how those guys are, and they would have like the game was basically you had a sniper rifle and your goal was to assassinate a target, and they would give you like a new challenge for each mission. And I remember one of them was really difficult, and like, oh yeah, and by the way, they would have like blood exploding out of them because it's a Flash game.
Right. Everything has
But yeah.
blood in Flash games, so you know.
Yeah, and they had like this one mission in one of them that like I was always stuck on because it was so difficult, and it was basically like you had this one guy, you had to assassinate these two targets, and one of them they were like walking by each other, and you couldn't let one of them get off screen, otherwise you would lose the mission. And what you had to do is you had to let them walk up to a certain point, and then kill the guy in front, and then immediately go towards the other guy who would start running backwards and kill him.
Wait, I think I know this game.
You do?
Yes. Was it was the main character like did he remind you of Vin Diesel for some reason, like in freaking was his name Vinny?
Vinny, I don't know. Maybe.
Hold
It
on.
sounds
Go ahead.
vaguely
keep
familiar.
Keep talking and then I'm going to
Okay. Yeah, that does sound vaguely familiar. I didn't know who Vin Diesel was at the time, so I would have no way of knowing. But like, yeah, I remember it was just like it was like a stick figure game, and you had like this scope, and you were like looking through it and all that stuff, and yeah. Yeah. It was like those stick Hitman games were like what I mostly remember playing a lot. And Also, Riddle School. I played a little bit of that, and I recently went back and completed the whole series again. Yeah.
I can't find the game I'm looking for.
I didn't think you could because I couldn't find it either.
That's gonna bother me now. It's gonna be something I gotta look through. There is definitely like a fan art of a guy named Vinny here, and he's a stick figure guy. But that's probably not the same thing. I'm probably mixing two different ones.
Probably. But yeah, I mentioned Riddle School. Did you ever play that one?
Riddle School, yes, I have played that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was cool.
That was another classic.
Yeah. It's like a little puzzle series.
Sift Heads. Sift Heads. Sift Heads.
Sift Heads. Oh,
Is
Sift
that
Heads.
the name of it? Sift Heads.
Maybe. Let me look it up.
Sift Heads. It was definitely a game.
Let me look that up.
Because you had like there was Vinny who was the main guy. Then there was like a Japanese stick figure guy.
Yes, it was. It was this series. It was this series. I've been looking all over for this, man.
There it is.
I'm gonna go down a nostalgia trip tonight.
There's a bunch.
Yeah, there's like a bunch. I only played like a few of them. But yeah, there's certainly a lot in there.
Let's see. Pot Brain. When was the most recent release? Sift Heads World Act 1 finally released. 2022?
Oh, dang.
Oh, no,
they're still making...
No. Sorry, that was a comment. Okay, 2010 was the last one.
Okay.
2010. Yeah, man. I love seeing these abandoned profile pages. If you guys want to find mine, I'm Tails1234. That is a real profile, I'm not joking.
Tails. I'm gonna look that up right now and follow it. Tails1234. Users. Level 3 blank slate. Yep, there's a bunch of Sonic animations as the favorites on this.
That is me. That's
Yep,
me.
I'm
Me and my
following.
friend actually made that audio track that's there. That hip hop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ice Cap Zone. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny stuff. I made a submission on there. I forgot all about that.
Dude, you favorited this Doc Ock thing before it was like a meme blowing up these days.
Yeah, it has the green screen behind Doc
Yeah,
Ock.
it has the green screen. Yeah.
See, I was way ahead of my time.
Yeah, you were. Dang.
It's funny enough, like some of the faves that I got, like there's some stuff missing there. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
Yeah, maybe it's maybe I have to check like my comments. Maybe I just didn't favorite it and I just had comments instead or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. You should log in. Bring back Tails1234.
Hey guys,
Like all my posts.
I'm the Mentok's twin brother, Tails1234.
I'm gonna send you a friend request. Fuck it.
Oh man.
Oh man, you're 39.
No.
That's what it says on your account.
Yeah, I lied about my age.
Okay,
Initially,
yeah, okay, we all did
and then
that.
yeah, it's been counting up ever since. So if you want to do the math,
Yeah.
I probably said so. I was probably starting this when I was 14. This is 8 years older. 14.
Yeah.
Wow. So I said I was like 20 something, like way before I hit that.
Oh dang. Yeah, that makes sense. Everyone on the internet lies about their age.
Yeah, you couldn't access everything if you weren't 18 on NEWGROUNDS. So
Yeah, because they have filters. They have the M-rated filter and the A filter as well. Yeah. But yeah, dang.
No shame in my game.
No shame at all.
So yeah, what's going on with NEWGROUNDS now? I mean, you post frequently now, so like maybe you know a little bit more about what's going on these days.
Yeah, they mostly do like art. They still do like community challenges and stuff, and like Tom Fulp gives out like drawing tablets and cash prizes and stuff for those. Let me look at what they're doing right now on the front page.
Front page is Friday Night Fuckery.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I don't know what's up there, but that's gonna be their next big thing for sure.
Yeah, Friday Night Funkin' was like a thing that took off a lot.
So, but that was a creator that made that, and then Tom Fulp got involved, right? I guess that they decided to like endorse them and help them with that Kickstarter and all that, right?
Yeah. I think they knew each other beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Ninja Muffin's been on the site for a while.
Oh,
But
okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, when I first
Yeah.
saw people playing it, I thought it was an old Newgrounds Flash game. Like, I'm like, yo, is this something that just resurfaced randomly that people are like discovering now? That's cool. And then I realized
Yeah.
it was,
It was like
a
new.
recent thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mostly use Newgrounds to like follow people and check out like what they do because I don't have Twitter anymore. Well, I do, but I don't use it because fuck that website. But yeah, I mostly I mostly follow like people who I think make cool art on this site. Like I found this one person, Inuikal. I don't think I'm even saying that right, but they make pretty cool art. They made like a visual novel using their characters, and I've been wanting to play that. Oh, that's a penis. I should probably turn off the A filter. Yeah. If for those of you who don't know, if you have there's like a filter system on Newgrounds. The way it works is there's like E for everyone content, there's T for teen, M is like mature stuff, and then A is just porn.
Yeah, so don't tell YouTube that this happened, but like one time I was streaming and I'm like, yo, let me check out my Tales 1, 2, 3, 4 page, right? So
Yeah.
I did all of that, and I get to the front page and there's just a big pair of boobs just staring back at me. And I'm like,
Oh,
my
was that
God, no.
Oh, I think I remember. I was like in that stream, but I happened to be looking away from the screen at the time, and I just remember hearing you go, "Oh no!" and then you like quickly tabbed away from it, and I was like, "What happened?"
Yeah. I'm like, hey, no one in that chat saw anything, and I'm deleting the VODs of this just to help with it. So I didn't get hurt
Yeah.
for it at all. But yeah, especially if you try to do like a Twitch stream of that or something to the audience out there, be careful.
Yeah.
Log out first.
Yeah, y'all got to be careful. But yeah, they're doing a bunch of they still do collabs and stuff. Like right now, um, they have the Resident Evil 2 collab, and they have there's an art contest going on. Looks like, yeah, a Bobo's Big Adventure 10-year anniversary art
Oh
contest.
wow, I remember when
Yeah.
that came out.
I've
Man.
never heard of it.
That's like it's based on a double dragon boss.
Oh, I see.
It's like
Yeah,
the
they're
big
doing-
bald dark skin guy.
Yeah, I see him.
Yeah, there's like they made like a whole game out of that guy. I guess he's
Oh,
like the
dang.
first boss in Double Dragon or something like that, and then they decided to make a cool little game out of that.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, they have prizes for it. Oh, Two Left Thumbs is getting in on this. Have you seen him?
Two Left Thumbs?
Yeah, the YouTuber.
No, I don't know him.
Okay, he's known as Noodle on Newgrounds, and he was actually referenced in one of the Riddle School games because he kind of became friends with the guy who made those games.
Okay.
Yeah, he had like the goat character.
I barely remember that.
Okay, yeah. But he has a channel now called Two Left Thumbs, and he mostly talks about like a whole bunch of other stuff too. But like he has this series called Flashlight where he like talks about old Newgrounds stuff, and he also is a publisher now. He's like publishing old like collections of Newgrounds games, like he
Mm-hmm.
and new ones too. Like he published Dead Estate. He published some other. He's helping publish Scrabdackle, which is like an indie game, and he also is publishing right now. He's publishing the Fancy Pants Adventure, which is like a collection of all the Fancy Pants games that were on Newgrounds.
Yeah, so
And-
I remember there were 2 volumes of that.
Yeah,
Was there anything more from that?
I think there was like a third one as well that's going to be in that collection, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
That's actually a very fun platformer for those who are looking for like a short, like fun Sonic-like game.
Yeah.
Very nice mechanics
And-
to it. Very fluid.
Yeah, and on top of that, he's also working with he's publishing a re-release of the Alice is Dead series.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. You know, that reminds me,
those are
there was, I want to talk about the audio portal for a second.
okay.
Because there's a lot of great music on there. I don't think that a lot of them became as high profile as like the animators, for instance. But the audio portal had, like, I used to check that every so often too, because it had like the most amazing video game mixes, remixes. You can still go there now. The audio portal's still open, and if you like check top trending for all time, there's probably going to be one person on there that dominates. His name is Paragon X9, and he used to put out some like very unique techno trance gaming type songs, and then just like everyone else on Newgrounds, I guess that he just grew up, you know, and just never really went back to it. But he does have a YouTube channel now. I think he posts gaming stuff now, actually. So he's still around leisurely, but he doesn't really make music as much anymore, which is kind of sad. But he had this iconic like screen cap of Amy Rose from Sonic X like as his screenshot, so everybody wondered if he was a boy or a girl. So like, and then like pictures of him would go around, but sometimes I think it turned out to be his girlfriend or something. So he would troll the community for a very long time with that.
That's great. I always think it's funny whenever someone like sets their profile picture as like an anime girl or something, and nobody knows like if they're a boy or a girl.
Right. I honestly was rooting for him to be a girl because he made some badass music, and that would have been nice, you know, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, his stuff is still up on Newgrounds, I'm sure. So like, feel free to go check that out. But for the Alice is Dead series, there was a singer named Hania who put out like these like classic vocals. I think that she had a very nice voice too. She's on YouTube actually. I left a comment like maybe a couple years back, and I was just like, you know, you're still on my iTunes and like music list. Like I still have your stuff that I downloaded from way back when. And she like actually replied and said she appreciates it so much, and she's still at it. So shout out to Hania.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I remember I was like listening to like the song like in I think the first Alice is Dead or something.
Yeah, the song is actually called Alice is Dead too. So
oh yeah, yeah.
Pretty easy.
I remember I was like listening to it, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really good singer. I wonder if she's coming back for the remake.
I wouldn't see why not. I mean, let's check on her too. Why not?
Yeah. Although, like, yeah, I'm glad to hear that like there are some people from like Newgrounds who didn't go crazy, because I've just been that's all I've been hearing about lately is just old people who went like crazy, like the guy who did the announcer voice in Battle Blot Theater. I found out that he's homeless, living in his car, and he's insane now, I guess.
Oh boy.
Which sucks. Yeah. And then there's another guy who I think you and I both know of, who is insane and sick, and I don't even want to say his name.
I'm losing brain cells. Who is it?
I'll type his name out for you.
Okay, we won't say his name. He who must not be named.
He's disgusting.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Actually, that guy got very popular, like in the mature section of Newgrounds. That was his claim to fame.
Yeah.
Sucks because he's kind of talented.
Kind of talented, but he's also kind of messed up.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
So Hania's got 11,000 subscribers. Her YouTube is the Hania Show, Hania Show. Go show her some love. Very good singer. She's still putting out stuff. Oh, up to a year ago. I guess she stopped, but she was making like 1,000 views per video. So she has like a pretty nice little following here.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other creators. I did watch a lot of Ego Raptor stuff though.
Yeah, I watched a lot of him too before he kind of,
If you go back to his Knuckles Chaotix or Knuckles, what is it? Chaotic, awesome chaotic, something like that.
Yeah.
It was funny at the time, but now I'm watching this and I'm like, man, you just threw the N-word around like crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I
that
actually,
was like that was a lot of humor back in the day, though.
I know it was. I'm not faulting him for that or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like, I thought, for some reason, I thought he was a black guy, like for a while.
Yeah. I don't know. And that guy is kind of like weird though with that. Like, have you seen that like clip from Game Grumps? I'm sure he was joking, but it still kind of like makes me like raise an eyebrow every time I hear it. Where like he was like talking about how he had like this taxi driver who was black, and like the second he got out of his car out of the car with his wife, he had to like just fire off the N-word a few times to get it out of his system.
That's weird. Like, I don't think that's normal.
That's pretty weird.
Like,
that's not normal. Yeah,
that's not normal.
Yeah.
Him and his wife got caught slipping a few times. I think honestly they grew up in an area where there weren't that many black people. To be honest, I know exactly where he grew up because it's like not too far from me. I guess like a few hours away from me, but I know that side of Florida, and that's the part that keeps. Yeah, that's the side of Florida that keeps it red.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Not to bash conservatives out here, but I'm sure that you get my point too. But
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's where he grew up, and then I guess he moved to like the big city. You're not used to like minorities everywhere, and you must have like that inkling. I don't know. It's just whatever. It's not. Normal, I don't want to. I'm not defending that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not normal. I'm not defending that, but I don't want to speculate about him. And it was a while ago, so I'm sure that he's not like that these days. But
he's very woke now. It seems.
Yeah, he's like he's very interesting.
But I guess we're doing that on a separate podcast,
Yeah, we're doing that. I don't want to get into all that. You and I both have like a lot of issues with the guy, it seems.
Yeah, so like I have this weird relationship with the Game Grumps, and I will get to that in like a separate video or something.
Yeah, separate.
I know that you are very passionate with your opinions about.
I don't like them, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I guess like I'll just say it real quick. Like my opinions of them have like changed over time. Like when they first came out with stuff, I'm like, oh, this Let's Play stuff is not really interesting. I'm not into it. And I didn't really get into Let's Plays until I watched like Markiplier play Five Nights at Freddy's, because I wasn't really good at Five Nights at Freddy's. So I watched him play through the whole thing because I was curious about the game itself. So after that happened, like I just went back to the Game Grumps instinctively, because all those guys were like under like Maker Studios, which was basically ran a monopoly on YouTube for a while. Like that's also a great topic for a podcast, by the way.
Oh yeah, like we could talk about like old MCMs.
Yeah,
how like none of them exist pretty much because everyone realized how awful they were.
Yeah, like it's just wild. I mean, I remember like once you got into one of those studios, it was like, oh my god, I made it. And then PewDiePie like basically came out and set the trend. He started trashing his stuff. He's like, yeah, I'm independent now. Fuck all this. And everybody's like, huh, you're right. What are they doing for me?
Especially because like he was, it was like mostly Machinima that was like that too.
It was Machinima and Maker, who got bought by Disney, by the way. So Disney was in that space for a little bit, or tried to get in that space. I'm sure that it's like more or less defunct now.
Yeah, and like yeah, I remember it because like Machinima was so horribly mismanaged back then too that like they literally didn't know that PewDiePie was signed to them until he asked to like leave.
It was Machinima he was a part of? I thought he was with Maker.
He was with Machinima, and then he moved to Maker, and then the whole controversy stuff happened, and then he ended up being let go.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he used to record in like their office and stuff. He used to just like walk through this, and they were like those guys are making money, man. Not the YouTubers. I mean, definitely like the big YouTubers, but like those studios are making hella money. It was so weird that was a thing, and that was like a 3-year ride, like 3 to 5 year ride. I would say.
Yeah,
so they just ate and then bounced.
Yeah. Some of my favorite videos PewDiePie did was like during that era, like where he was like a little bit edgier, but like I loved his character Beastmaster 64.
Yeah,
Where
I
he
think
was
he plays it a little close to the chest. And I mean, considering how many controversies he's been in, I'm not even surprised anymore.
Yeah, because it's he's just so big, and it seems like anyone is just willing to take him down, especially like people in like the dying media and stuff that like want to come at his throat because he's a face of the new media and all that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like he's much older now. You know, like he's probably in a different stage of life. He's married, settling down, and all that. So
Yeah,
I can't help but think he's a little bit tired of this.
yeah. I know he's taking breaks now, which is good because he didn't take a break at all for like 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, you have more money than you know what to do with. So at that point, like you have to kind of know when to just take a step back and then, you know, come back when you're ready. It's super important. Even when you're like on the lower spectrum of like subscribers, I think too, even though there's not that much space to take a break with the grind. I think it's just important at the end of the day.
Yeah. It is pretty important to know when to take a break, but I just still think it's so wild that he was like so addicted to making content that he like took the only time he took a break was when he was like doing the like Scare PewDiePie Season 2, which I still think should be released just on principle of the fact that he clearly didn't enjoy it, but did it.
You think
did
YouTube has that locked in like some vault somewhere where they're just like, we're never releasing this?
They've gotta. I mean, like I think it's dumb that they won't release that, but they still released Logan Paul's movie after the whole Suicide Forest thing.
Yeah, that was...
I think that's worse, honestly.
That movie looked awful, too.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's going to be like, you know, artists trying to get their masters back. It's like PewDiePie trying to get Scare PewDiePie Volume 2 back from YouTube. Like...
I think he's like done with that. I think he like made jokes about it for a while, but I think at this point he's just settled with the fact that it's never going to get released.
But honestly, if like I had that work, I would like to have it, you know, like the fact that I went out there and filmed and stuff, even if I didn't really care about it, I would want it back. You know, that's just kind of like, I understand how he would feel about that, even though he just doesn't really show that he cares too much. Just having ownership over that again would be nice, you know? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one day, like when no one cares anymore, they'll release it, or he'll like buy the rights off the series back from them or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and like when they were like with those companies, like when all those content creators were doing it, those companies always push them to like collab and like do these high quality videos that I don't think they really wanted to do. And you know, it was a very different time in my opinion.
My favorite story of one of those that like went like it was so bad that like it was like not even funny was like the failed attempt at the Mountain Dew Game Jam.
I don't know about that. No.
Okay.
Who was involved in that?
Markiplier, someone else, I forget who, and JonTron.
Total Biscuit?
No, not Total Biscuit. I don't think so. But it was like three influencers, and they had like a team, or maybe it was four. I don't remember, but it was like 4 YouTubers, and they had a team. I know that Markiplier and JonTron were a part of them. Captain Sparkles was one of them, I think. Okay. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was like those 4 big names, and they had like this. The idea was that they would do challenges, but also do like a game jam, and for some reason they decided to get like their whole like game dev team involved, and they like some guy from they did like a deal with like Pepsi to have it sponsored by Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
And they had a guy from Pepsi come in, and at that point it just went completely off the rails. where the guy was insisting that they only drink Mountain Dew and stuff like that, and if they want to drink water, then they should just fill up cans of Mountain Dew with water. It was like ridiculous. And he also like got creative control, so he put like people with clashing personalities on teams to like in an effort to stir up drama. Like he intentionally put like JonTron and Zoe Quinn on the same team. Which if you know anything about those two, you'd know that not really mixing
there's some
personalities.
bad blood there.
Yeah, and what's funny is that they actually like got heated at one point, but then they went outside and they talked things out like mature adults and like set aside their differences for the program. And immediately after they like pretty much finished that, they were followed by the camera crew who was trying to record them arguing and lashing out at each other. And it got to the point where like everyone quit like after the first day and was like, "We're done. We're not being a part of this. I don't care. We quit."
Did that
Like,
air
there was,
then?
like, no, it didn't. It like got canceled and like we have like stills from it, I think. But yeah, it was just canceled and it was like a big disaster. And that's actually what caused Maker Studios to be bought by Disney, I think.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
those studios love to put the creators outside, like away from things that they were doing. And like love to get them doing shit that they normally wouldn't do. So like it's like these creators struggling to do things that they normally wouldn't do, right? So like that's like if someone pulled up to me and said, "All right, Mentok, this is exactly what you're gonna do for this video," and I have to like adapt. It would be difficult for me because it's not from my own psyche, which is what built my channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that Maker. I think I remember another thing like that was a little bit better. I'm not sure if you know Wings of Icarus. That's like some online game that's steampunk, where
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, you have a few people on like a steampunk blimp ship, or like it's not necessarily like a zeppelin. It's more of like I don't know. It's just this weird airship looking thing, right? So you need people on there. Like you need someone driving. You need someone managing the guns and stuff. And like all of these channels, like there was like 5 big teams that were playing like randomly. They didn't even announce it like as an event or anything. So Markiplier had this video with his friends like Bob and Wade, and I think maybe Jacksepticeye was on there. And then like the Game Grumps are playing. It was Aaron, Dan, Susie, and like Barry and those guys. And then like Total Biscuit had his team, and there was another one with Cry. Was that his name? Because he was very popular. He used to do long plays. So like all these guys who were under Maker, and I even think PewDiePie was playing, I think. So they're all playing on different ships and they're like manning it. And like honestly, it was like interesting to me to go to each of these people's. Dodger was a part of it too. I think I just forget who she was with. I think she was with Total Biscuit.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so everyone is like flying around and like navigating. So like you see on Total Biscuit ship, he's the one that's like captaining. So he's basically sounds like a real captain. He's like, "All right, 45 degrees to port, and everything's looking good, guys. Load up the guns." Markiplier is like, "Guys, I don't know what I'm doing. But like he actually does know what he's doing, and he's taking down ships and things like that, and they're actually working pretty well. And the Game Grumps is just an absolute shit show. Nobody knows what they're doing. Susie's like, "Guys, I don't know." And like, there's all of that going on. And I thought it was a very interesting event. And, we don't see a lot of that anymore amongst like Let's Players and things like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting event that happened, for sure.
Cool times.
Cool times. Good times.
Good thing about all that stuff is you may be able to still find it if you look hard enough, I know things like get buried a lot faster on the internet these days, though, so it's... Especially on Newgrounds, since that's been around for, like, how long?
Yeah. It's been around since the 90s.
Yeah, so good luck there. But...
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a very long episode, and we kind of spiraled out of control. But that's the good ways. Good episodes.
Yeah, next episode, part 2 of this discussion. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah. Thank you, everyone, for this episode, listening to this episode of whenever, episode 11, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is episode 11.
Yeah, episode 11. Awesome.
Hey, just some behind the scenes thing. We made this before episode 10 aired. Ha.
Yeah.
All right. That's useless information.
Useless information. But yes, thank you all for listening, and we will see you all later.
Peace.